does that look ridiculous?
It does look ridiculous, but that's all right.
We can start off like that.
Start off like that. Welcome to episode 4 of Creating Art Together. This is Kristen and I'm Heather, and we are working towards an exhibition in 4 months' time from now. It is 13 weeks and counting. And we thought we'd share with you today some of the challenges that we go through as artists and, the ups and downs of working out what we're going to be doing. You might be a creative yourself or hope to be and find that, you have some challenges with, how do I move forward with my own creativity? Well, we've got some little gems for you today. And just before we get into the episode, if you're someone who would like to create something or even learn how to paint, I have a gift for you today. It's a free download of all the paints and the brushes and everything I use to paint with my oils. And you can go to paintingwithheather.com/first step. It's a free little download for you. It's a gift today. But we're going to get on now and share with you some of the behind the scenes of what we've been doing with 13 weeks to go before an exhibition. Let's go. So why are we sitting here with our camellias in our hair? Yeah, we're going to share with you some of the art that we're working towards, and one of the pieces involves camellias. So for those of you who are watching this for the first time, we have some other episodes, so you can go back and look. But we are working towards an exhibition in 4 months' time that involves glass art, which what Kristen is amazing at, and photorealistic painting, which I do. We're combining it in 2 pieces that actually complement each other. So we've been working together and thinking about, well, how can I incorporate what I do, which is I love water and I love realistic up close. Kristen loves up close with detail, with flowers and glass. So we're actually overlaying your beautiful pieces of glass on my paintings in like chandelier type shapes. So that might sound confusing. So we're going to let it sort of fill you in on how that all works. We are doing 3 flowers, maybe 4, but probably maybe 3. 4. 3 flowers and a diptych of hands, which we'll talk more about in another episode. But one of the pieces that we're going to be talking about today, we decided to do flowers, is a camellia. So Kristen does all these magical, amazing things with glass, and there's so much. You say your co-workers call you the mad scientist, is it?
They do.
The mad scientist.
They do.
Because you can't quite see it there, but there is. We'll show you something overlaid here. But there's so much research and documentation and things to do, and things like saying. Would you say horrendous? This one's horrendous. This one didn't work. Lots of experimenting.
Also super ugly.
But before we go into finding out exactly how Kristen is making her glass camellias, we just thought we'd share a bit about what we're finding really hard or what we find difficult about our own art process. Kristen works with glass, and I have a few glass artist friends, and I'm like so in awe. Like, it's such a challenging art thing, isn't it? Tell me more. Yeah, what do you find hard? What's the most hardest thing about what you do?
The hardest thing is if I see in my mind something that I want to make, and I really don't know how to do it.
Yep. Fair enough. Yep.
And which a lot of the work I've been doing for this exhibition falls, unfortunately,
into that category.
Because I'm working with flowers, I've been wanting to make 3-dimensional flowers, and most of my work is pretty much 2-dimensional because I use sheet glass. So it's been very frustrating for me because I haven't known how to do it. So I've had to sort of learn and, call on some friends for advice and read up on things online, just do lots and lots of tests. And generally my work involves heaps of testing anyway. And this particular process, because each of the flowers needs to be cast, that means every time I make a mould, it's destroyed. So it's quite a long process with all the tests.
Do you do you go home like some days you just like feel defeated? Well,
Totally.
yeah. I mean, I just want to be
totally.
real with what we're doing. Yeah, we're working towards an exhibition, and it looks all very rosy when you see the Instagrams and, you know, the gorgeous photos. But it's hard. It's tough, isn't it? You spent like how long trying to get the first one? The first one we're working on was the ginkgo.
Ginkgo's probably a month.
A month
I
of
think,
tests.
of
Just
tests.
tests, not even anything final in that
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And were you like, just go home like, what do you do? What do you
just
do?
so frustrated.
Yeah.
Just like, really, how can I get this to work? And then I would go home and then I'd think, okay, I tried that and that didn't work. So what's the next step? And actually in my visual diaries, I have, at the start of it, I have objectives, and then at the end I have results.
Oh,
and
what a
I
great idea.
Go through
It's
and
like
I
a journal,
analyse-
yeah.
Yeah. So then I go through and analyse which ones have worked and which hasn't,
Wow.
and just look at all the different variables. And yeah, it takes forever.
Yeah.
And there's times I think I'm just completely bonkers. But
You don't
if
give
I
up
don't-
though. You got a
No, I
real
don't.
not giving up
give
spirit.
No, I don't give
You're
up.
determined to make it
And-
work.
Yeah. And there's sometimes things that just don't work. I had to walk away from a exhibition or a competition piece I was doing last year, and I just
wasn't
could
coming together.
not make it work. And I worked on it for sort of 3 months and over Christmas, and I was there, you know, every weekend until 9 o'clock most nights, and it just would not work. And in the end, I had to just cut my losses and say, this isn't working, I've got to try something else.
Yeah.
And glass is really expensive
Yeah.
as well.
Wow, yeah.
So every time something doesn't work, it's costing me as well as a frustration.
Yeah.
But like this morning I opened the kiln and something had not worked at all, and my face was like,
Oh.
but I had not done something that I generally do, and so it just didn't work.
Okay.
And so that taught me, okay, I need to do that next time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you come home sometimes and you're just like, I don't know, this is just really tough. But you don't give up.
Buy chocolate on the way home.
Buy chocolate, yes, please.
I ate a lot of chocolate.
Buy
much.
chocolate, that's the answer.
Too much.
Yeah, chocolate's a good thing. Like I say, I think glass artists are gems in terms of what you have to manage, you know, because things break. I mean,
And
I can just
bubble.
paint over things.
Or the big job, the big competition piece that
Yes.
kept bubbling
Oh, yeah.
because I was using organic matter in it, using skeleton leaves.
Yeah.
And I would fire, they were all sort of A5 size postcards, and I would fire, say, 4 at a time. 1 would work, and 3 had bubbles this high in them.
And you're like, why did you work and you
I
didn't?
know. And it was the most frustrating thing, and I was seriously going mad
Yeah.
doing it and questioning what I was doing all the time.
But you don't give up, and I think that's why I asked the question for those watching. You know, I think those that don't give up and keep going forward. You know, if you're you know someone who's creating, you know, trying to create something, whatever it is, a patchwork that's not working or whatever, keep going, keep going.
Yeah.
And remember Kristen, who breaks things, and she keeps going.
I keep going. Yeah. Or do something else that night.
Yes,
Yeah, have
it
a
feels good.
Bubble bath.
Yeah,
or-
do some feel good stuff. Yeah, Take
Cozy
yourself
up
out
with
to a
your
coffee.
animal.
Coffee.
Have some chocolate.
Yeah,
And
ring a friend.
ring a friend. Go
Email
for a
us.
walk.
Message below.
Yes. And then the next day,
Try again.
Try again.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's our answer.
What do you find?
What do I find really hard? Imposter syndrome's a big one for me. I think when I start painting a painting, sometimes because I video everything, I'm trying to get my stuff out there, and I'm filming myself, and sometimes like, oh no, there's rubbish on the floor. Oh no, people are gonna look at my house and think it's terrible, and blah blah blah. So I've had to get over that. I find that really hard sometimes, but I know people enjoy it. The thing I find hard is it sounds silly because I love it, but the detail. Sometimes it is so hard that I can only do 5 minutes at a time. Like I'll just do a little bit, because if I'm painting water or something that's splashing, you can't like, oh, that's a tree, so I'll draw a line, or that's a fingernail, so I'll draw a fingernail. It's like that's a splodge. I will draw a splodge, but I've got to do the splodge right, or it's not going to look real. So I think I find that challenging, and I think some of my students think I don't find things challenging, but I do. Like
Because it looks so easy when you do it. Does you make it look so easy?
Well, it's easy
not.
if I take it in little bites.
Yeah.
Just a little bit and then have a break. A little bit and have a break. No, it's not easy actually. Some of it, yeah, I shouldn't say that. Some of it, get the big brush out on the bigger parts. But when you're doing something really detailed, I find it challenging. Like I remember last night I was working on a piece and nearly finishing it, and it was just really hard. I was like, I need the peanuts. I don't put chocolate because it will be gone in 2 seconds.
So you do peanuts.
I do the nuts
Okay.
and the dip, and I need to go and get some dip now. Oh, I need to get some chips, some corn chips. Oh, I need to find some strawberries or something. Yeah, just distract myself again. Get back to the canvas.
Yes.
It's not always like that, but I find that that hard. But I keep reminding myself that you're going to feel the reward once you finish this piece. Once you finish it, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But we're super critical, all of us, of our own work. Like, there's things that you were mentioning the other day. I'm like, no one will notice that, but it's really important to you, like getting the little hoop right on the bottom of the glass. For me, the texture of the canvas, I've got to get it right, But I think that's the other thing I find hard is letting go of those things sometimes and going, because I'm like, oh no, that colour's not exactly the same as that one. Who is going to notice that? Just let go. Trying to be a bit more relaxed about that. So that's hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I did remember doing a questionnaire, and it was talking about strengths and weaknesses. And I remember writing in both columns perfectionist. And
interesting.
so it was my strength.
Strength and your
also
weakness. Yeah.
And I also find that I'm so meticulous and methodical with my work. I would just love to just do a great big abstract canvas sometimes.
Just let it all
go
out.
and throw some paint at the wall.
It doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I keep coming back to doing this.
You wouldn't enjoy it probably that much, do you reckon?
I don't know.
You might.
I don't know. I've kind of made peace with it a bit.
Yeah.
That this is what I do.
Yeah.
And it is really tedious. And there's days I just sit there and think, I've got to write all
the review, all the testing results down.
Yeah.
But you should see it's like a piece of art. It must be nice to look back at it.
But it is satisfying to, because everything's cross-referenced. They're all stored in little slide sleeves. If anyone remembers slides.
Yeah.
And they're all cross-referenced, so I can look up what I've actually done, which is very handy.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So we just thought we'd just share a bit of the challenges we have. I'm sure there's lots of other stories we can tell you about this, the times when we haven't felt like we're going to nail it or make it happen. But I think the encouragement for us all is keep going. Keep going. And we have been doing this for a numbers of years. And I often get students who come first time, they want to finish their painting next week and have it perfect then. And, it takes a while to learn things. And just, stick at it, what we're saying.
And also, I've found if I get really stuck with things, I remember reading I had an article about things that you can do in the studio if you're not like having a good day or you don't really feel like doing your art that day. As long as you keep showing up, and you can do things like sort. I love sorting.
You do. She keeps my gallery sorted.
I do. But I find that really helps me sometimes. I don't know if I'm a bit OCD or whatever, but I find if I've got a huge amount of mess, I can't work.
Yeah.
So my table will just be covered and I'll be right in the corner of the table.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, clean up.
Yeah.
On aisle 5, 6 and 7. And it's just, and then that helps me to really think again. But things like that, just go out and do some sketching or just go out for a walk and really look at nature around you. And put flowers in
your hair. I heard something the other day. This is interesting. Is if you're finding it really hard to get creative, is to do things differently when you wake up. So instead of doing your teeth first or having your coffee first, you swap them round. Or if you drive a certain way to work, you go a different way. And it actually activates your brain, because we can get into this really. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, so you can sit on the other side of the desk. Maybe, or something, I don't know, do something a little different. But I don't think you have any shortage of ideas. That's for those that might not have. You've got lots of ideas, so you probably don't need that stimulation. Maybe it'll help.
Yeah, but they dry up.
Yeah,
I go through phases where I just think, I go look at some of my work and think, did I even make that?
Yeah, right.
I can't kind of, if I'm in a real rut, I just look at it and think, I didn't make that.
You mean in a good way or a bad way?
Well,
like you look at it and you go,
like in a good way.
You're like, wow, did I make that? You mean?
Yeah.
You're like, how did I make that?
Because I think I'll never be creative ever again, and where's all that gone?
Oh, right.
And then I look at it and say, well, I did make that.
I'm actually okay at what I do.
I did do that.
Yeah.
So, and art comes in ebbs and flows as well.
It does.
And sometimes a piece will just come together.
Yeah.
And other ones it's just fighting the whole way.
Yeah.
Which is really, I don't understand that.
I know, it is funny. And I've had months and months without painting sometimes, and I've let that be. Like, I'm like, that's okay. I'll go and do something else for a while. Certainly not now as we're preparing for this exhibition. But yeah.
Yes.
Just some little tips and thoughts. Well, I thought just as we finish up this episode, would be great to share with you one of the other paintings. The last episode, or the one before last, episode 2, we'll get it right, was all about the ginkgo. And the episode 3 was about my paintings and how that all works. And then this one we'll just talk about the the camellias. What a beautiful flower. And I just thought it'd be really great to share, a bit about how you're doing this. And again, for those who don't know what we're doing, we're overlaying glass on top or in front of my paintings. And they'll be the pieces that Kristin's making will be hanging on wire, quite a number of meters from the floor above my paintings, and we'll have different levels of glass pieces sort of on one section where it's a little bit darker on the canvas. So, but I just thought it'd be really cool today to hear a bit about what you're doing. We're just in the middle of the process, or towards the ends of working out what you're doing for these glass structures for this particular painting. I'll show you the painting here, which it'll be overlaying.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, and that was fun.
I don't know if it's my favourite. There's so many gorgeous ones, but it's so peaceful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I actually took this photo, which was even more cool. Tell us a bit about how this is working. How are you making this happen?
Okay, so to do the flowers, I've gone out and found some of these absolutely beautiful camellias.
Yeah.
And they're just, they're so...
all those shapes.
So pretty. So that one's quite a different shape. and some have these really beautiful centres, and some are kind of glossy.
Oh,
in the
yeah,
middle.
lots of bits.
So what I've been doing is actually painting the flowers with a wax, so melting wax and then painting it on to the flowers, because if I just poured plaster directly on these, they would just move too much. So I need to make them stiff enough so that when the plaster goes on, it doesn't distort. So these are the ones that are one of the ones that's covered in wax.
Wow.
And you can see
The
in
shape.
a section here, for instance, there's actually I've built it all up with wax inside, because otherwise the glass will run in under, and you'll get what's called undercuts.
Oh, you won't be able to get it out.
Yeah, that's right, and it will get all full of plaster and it won't be the greatest. So I've had to go around and make sure that all these little cavities are filled with wax as well. That's another one.
How long does it take to do the wax? Because that looks like a lot of work.
The little ones aren't too bad. I get them with the stems on them and take the leaves off and then actually dunk them in the wax and then kind of shake the wax off.
Oh, okay.
But the bigger ones are really difficult because they
You've got to.
so then I've got to paint them.
So you dip them in first, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they take big ones could take half an hour to make sure I get all those bits filled in as well.
Yeah.
But they're really fun. I like doing them.
So tell us the next step. So I mean, I want to display these, but you say these are going to get destroyed. So what happens then?
Yeah,
So you've waxed them, and then what happens?
Yeah. So then they sit on a bed of clay.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I put acetate around that sits into the clay, and then I make a mix of plaster and silica, and then pour that into the acetate, and that makes a mould, and that takes leave it for about half an hour for it to set nicely, and then take it off, and then pull out the clay, little top section, and then leave it to dry for a while, and then the next step is to steam the wax out.
Oh, it dissolves.
All melts out. Then once that's happened, you're left with the impression. Left with the impression of the flower inside. And this is a big one, which I'm very excited about doing next week. And then from that, I use bullseye glass, and I use different types of what's called frit, which
There we go.
yeah, so it's crushed up glass, so it's very, very, very fine, like powder.
Yeah.
And this one's kind of like sugar.
Yeah, it does look like sugar.
Yeah, sugar. And this one's kind of like rock salt size.
Don't want to eat it though.
No, don't eat that. I'm using the white fine and putting that into all the little cavities and holes in there.
Oh, yeah.
And then once that's all done, I'm using the what's called coarse frit to kind of backfill on the top of that. So then that will all melt together.
And I'm dying to see. I'll show people how it turns out. Yeah.
And then once it's fired, it goes in the kiln to 820 degrees. And then once it's fired, the chemical structure of the mould changes, so you can actually break the mould apart.
That's what I was wondering. Like, how do you? Because it's solid, so that breaks up.
Yep.
The glass stays.
Yep. The glass stays, and then this mould will
falls off.
Just sort of you use like just ceramics tools and things, wooden tools, just to kind of pull it apart and wash it.
Because that's like
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. And then when the glass comes out, That's
one of the flowers. But you can see all the little jaggy bits on
Yep, yep,
it, which are very sharp.
yeah,
So I need to use my trusty Dremel
yeah.
tool and with a diamond burr and take all those little edges off.
Yep.
So I've done that too. This is one that I'm really
Oh,
happy
that's
with.
so pretty, that one.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Wait.
Wow.
so that's got, you can see the opaque.
Yeah, the white that you put
White.
in the edge.
Yep.
And then the clear on
Oh,
the
that's a clever
top
idea.
of that.
And that's the back. I've used a tiny little bit of yellow in the middle. And then this is another one that had more white
Oh, wow.
on it.
Yep.
But that doesn't have the yellow
Yeah.
centre.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. There you go.
And are you pleased with the result?
Yeah.
Talking about all the
I am.
challenges. Now
Yeah.
you're like, got there.
Yes, got there. And now it's just a matter of just making a
Doing
lot.
more. How many are you going to do of these?
Hopefully 30.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they're all, once
Different
I've now got
sizes.
it sorted, yeah, they're all different sizes. I've done most of the flowers in the wax. So it's just a matter of making a whole lot of moulds and getting them in the kiln.
Yay. That's great. Must be nice feeling to get to a point where you're like, you know the direction you've got to go now.
Yes.
Well done. They look amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. We don't know what this is going to look like, our whole piece together, until we get it to the exhibition place, winery, Yering Station in the Yarra Valley. So that's going to be fun.
It is.
Can't wait to see that.
And I think the white, because Heather's painting is so beautiful and luminous, I think the subtlety of these will go well.
Yeah, and they'll go over the darker area where the leaf is, and they'll look really cool.
Yay. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, if you've got any questions about any of that, just comment below. We'd love to hear. And yeah, next week we'll come up with some more exciting things for you to find out with, it's 13 weeks this week, it'll be 12 weeks next week. We can do this.
We can do it.
Yeah, we have the other flower we're doing is a hydrangea. Oh my goodness, I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with there. I know you're still...
Heather's painting is amazing.
I do. It's that's my favourite one.
I love
actually.
that one.
Yeah, the blues are gorgeous. I think in the last video I said I pinched myself. I don't think I could ever be at this point actually doing an exhibition to this scale and with someone who's so talented and amazing herself.
Aww.
No,
Back at you.
I suppose I'm saying that for others. Like I can remember sitting in a factory and having done one painting and thinking, what am I going to do? I don't know if I'll ever sell anything, sort of thing. And then started teaching, and then it went from there. But yeah, there was a determination in my soul to go, I want to make this work. And I want, obviously we like to make money. Obviously we would love to make money, especially it costs a lot of money.
Yeah, it does.
But the bottom line is we love what we do. And we won't stop doing it because we don't have money. I don't. But we're hoping that this will bring in some more income, this exhibition, so that we can continue on and do some more work and follow our dreams a bit, So it'd be really cool. Yeah. So that's the practical. Yes, sure, we want to help people be inspired, but the practicals is, we need to live, and you have a family, I have a family, and it'd be really nice to be able to do more of that. So anyway, just want to encourage you all, keep going with what you're doing creatively, and we'll see you next week with some more fun collaborative art stuff to share with you.
Yeah.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.